Today, we are at the doorstep of entering God's new world. We know that through our studies, Jehovah uses the faithful and discreet slave to direct our steps as we approach the end of this system. One of the most visible examples we've seen of this spiritual guidance is how our work and meetings changed overnight due to the pandemic. The directions to pause door-to-door and in-person meetings may have seemed extreme in the beginning, but there is no telling how many of our brothers' lives of this has saved. Now, the world is opening back up, and we are still in this holding pattern. Would it be wise to speak poorly of the organization and what they are doing? Would it be wise to listen to others who may be questioning our continued course of action? Let's look in at a similar situation when Jehovah's people were at the doorstep of entering the promised land, yet the course of action they chose to take. Deuteronomy 1:26-28 reads, "But you refused to go up, and you rebelled against the order of Jehovah. You kept grumbling in your tents and were saying, 'It was because Jehovah hated us that he brought us out of the land of Egypt to hand us over to the Amorites to annihilate us. What kind of place are we going to?' Our brothers made us lose heart by saying, 'They are a people greater and taller than we are, and their cities are great and fortified to the heavens, and we saw the sons of Anakim there.'" The 12 spies have been sent into the land to give a full report on their observations. When they came back, 10 of the 12 gave a negative and discouraging information to the assembly. What was the result? The Israelites started complaining about leaving Egypt. Can you imagine seeing all the miracles that Jehovah had performed on your behalf to free you from Egyptian bondage after being slaves for generations, only to complain about how much you miss being back in Egypt? Can you see the power of negative speech as well as the effect on the hearer? How do you think Jehovah may have felt about what he was seeing and hearing? Let's read about it and turn to Deuteronomy 1:34 and 35. There it reads, "All the while Jehovah heard what you were saying, and he became indignant and solemnly swore, 'Not one of these men of this evil generation will see the good land that I swore to give to your fathers.'" Because they spoke against Jehovah and his provisions, Jehovah declared that no adult outside of Joshua and Caleb would enter the promised land. Imagine being that close and losing out due to participating in listening to negative speech. All right, you might say, "I would never say anything about the organization." What about each other? We can be negative about a brother or sister and where it gets back to them. Or others in the hall and friends might view you differently, or them as well, and treat you and them in different manners. This can also discourage them as well. If we hear this type of speech, we need to shut it down immediately. Imagine if most of the Israelites had done this with the 10 spies and their discouraging news. They would have kept Jehovah's favor and enjoyed the blessing of the promised land. Friends, let us never focus on negative comments or be involved in discussions that speak negatively about Jehovah's organization and its people. Doing so will block us from receiving blessings as well as life-saving instruction from Jehovah in the very near future. Being imperfect makes it difficult at times not to be affected by speech, especially if it comes from someone that we love and trust. But at Galatians 6:9, it tells us to keep doing what is fine, and in due time we will reap our reward if we do not tire out. To do so, we must always put Jehovah above everything and everyone to ensure that we do not end up like the Israelites and let others' negative speech cause us to lose out on the greatest gift from Jehovah, the gift of everlasting life.